because very often I see companies just going in, not setting the KPIs they will track, and then delivering the project and then scratching their heads. So was it successful or not? Because they didn't really know what to track.
What should you consider before going composable to achieve better results?
Well, I would say, like, first and foremost, you have to identify what are your key problems, right? So when you come to the conclusion that you have outgrown your current stack, it is usually not something that is just caused by a single issue. Like when you have a single problem, you can offload it in many ways. You can just do a dirty fix or even not a dirty fix. But at some point, those things accumulate. And at some point, it's impossible to just fix this. Like you have to think about either starting from scratch or replacing something completely. So based on our experience, companies move to the composable architecture when they want to improve the customer experience, when they want to improve the ability to adapt to this ever-changing commerce landscape, especially for the retail companies. This is super important that they have this agility, ability to adapt to the new technologies like AI, personalization, online, social shopping, this sort of things. Some of them, B2B companies, for example, they very often want to improve the business processes, but the technology is actually a roadblock for that. Like it is simply impossible to do some things because of how the technology works. So Composable is giving you this ability to really, fine tune every detail of your back office, to fine tune every detail of your customer experience, to your needs. So when we see that someone has those problems, this is a very strong signal that they actually need composable architecture. And obviously, it's not something that is a determining factor. Like if you see this, it is probably a good sign that you should start evaluating this. Then you should start looking at your problems, identify which of those problems can be solved with composable architecture. Ideally, decide if you want to either pick a lowest hanging fruit, so something that could very easily demonstrate the value, or maybe you have a huge problem, which is, let's call it like most painful problem that you really desperately want to solve, and that will definitely bring a lot of value, and focus on that one. So that's what I would do, and start with like a small POC, not going very hardcore into like a very big implementation, a very big bet, because first of all, like you need to see how it works. You need to demonstrate the value, and ideally the ROI should be as fast as possible.
Yeah, and what I always tell the customers is they should really write down all the KPIs that they are looking to improve. Try to verify some of those KPIs very quickly through proof of concept and then an MVP, and then compare the results. And it's totally fine to make assumptions on some of the KPIs because you might not even have the data as of today, right? So you want to make an assumption on where you would like to be after implementing Composable, because very often I see companies just going in, not setting the KPIs they will track, and then delivering the project and then scratching their heads. So was it successful or not? Because they didn't really know what to track. And as you are trying to define KPIs, you are kind of forced to figure out your problems, as you mentioned, right? Otherwise, it's gonna be a big problem.
Yeah, a good example could be, for example, when you have multiple geographies, and within those multiple geographics, you're using multiple vendors, and it is taking you a significant amount of time to update all of those applications, and it is costing you a significant amount of money to do this. Like a good KPI, for example, for like a long-term horizon could be, okay, so we want to go from this time of applying a change to this time. We want to go from this cost to that cost. And this
Yeah.
is something that composable architecture could actually enable. Like it is wonderful in simplifying a very complex setups. It is complex on its own, but frankly, it is usually nothing compared to like a very sophisticated and really messed, because that's how many organizations work, like they work by geography, setups where each region is actually making their own decisions about the vendors, about the technological stack, etc. So in such cases, Composable can be a wonderful solution to those problems.